morning, everybody. Welcome to a first time. I'm gonna try something new this time around. So I like to do a lot of research on the stuff that I do drink, because I get curious and I get bored. And so a lot of it has really rich histories, particularly when it comes to beer and when it comes to spirits. So I wanted to try to put that on the channel, try something new, try a little history lesson, and to see how it works. We do that. Now, there's plenty of other spirits, there's plenty of other beer that has a lot of rich history, which I will get into once I start warming myself up, and that requires a lot more research and a lot more history and a lot more depth. But today we'll do something a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more simplex till it comes to the end. So today, like I said, we'll be talking about Mezcal, which gets confused with tequila a lot. Like I say, a lot. So tequila is a part of the Mezcal family, but Mezcal came before it. Mezcal has been around a lot longer, and despite popular belief that tequila is the preferred liquor in Mexico, it is the #1 liquor in the United States from Mexico. This is correct. But in Mexico, they prefer Mezcal over tequila because it has a more cleaner taste that compared to vodka. It's very clean, very refreshing, and it's actually one of the few liquors that is preferred to be drunk in what they call el joven, the original clear taste. The aged version of Mezcal is usually for more touristy and to attract more Americans, investors. And it did work. Mezcal in the past, I'm gonna say the past 10 years has gotten a big giant boost over the economy wise and in popularity itself. But it's still one of the lesser known variations of spirit to begin with. So we're gonna do a quick little history lesson, and we're gonna just talk about what I have here going on around this part. Now, getting into the history of Mezcal is pretty, it's more, it's a little difficult. The history of Mezcal is just as accurate as an urban legend, meaning there really is no accuracy behind it. It's almost lost in history. A lot of it is just based on legends and stories that have been told over the years. The only one that's been really accurate so far, or it's been in line with every other story, is that Mezcal was introduced by the Spaniards whenever they conquered Mexico over 400, 500 years ago. When that happened, they brought their own spirit called aguardiente, which is blazing water, and that's what they used to drink. And they made that from another type of plant that's kind of familiar to the agave that they use for tequila and Mezcal. So they brought that over and they introduced it to the Mexican natives. Now, it is not known for sure that the Mexican natives ever has distilled anything prior to the Spaniards' conquer, but it is known for a fact that the Spaniards taught the Mexican natives how to distill. Once their aguardiente ran out, they went ahead and tried to experiment with whatever was around. And a lot of the nectars and juices that the Mexican natives drank was agave-based drinks. And some of them were like fermented to the point of alcohol was content in it. The Spaniards enjoyed it very much, so they decided, let's try to make something out of this. Let's try to make a spirit out of this. And they taught the Mexicans, natives, to distill that agave juice nectar into something that's more tolerable. Now, once again, this is not the birth of tequila. Tequila came along years after the fact. This is how they created Mezcal. And Mezcal, again, it took a little process. It took several years. And even then, it was always considered like a moonshine type thing. The Spanish conquerors loved it a lot. And it did the job. A lot of the Mexican natives kind of forbid it because it was against their belief to drink it at the time. Now, once the Spaniards got overthrown by the Mexican natives and got run out of Mexico, the skill that they learned from the Spaniards continued on and experimenting with the agave nectar, continued on until they finally mastered the process of making Mezcal. And that's when tequila was finally born. It's taken several years to do this process, and there's over 200 different types of species of agave that's all over the world. But as far as I can tell and read, there's only 30 species that's specifically used to make the spirit, and a lot of it is mostly in the Mexican region. With that being said, the truth behind it all about how Mezcal can only be made in Mexico is kind of false. They made Mezcal in Russia, Africa, Iran, and Canada. It's based on the region itself, And I guess it has to do with the climate. The drier the climate, the easier it is to grow. And it usually takes about 15 years for these aguaves to grow, and they grow pretty big, almost the size of this table. And in the heart of it is called what they call a piña, which looks like a pineapple in itself once you cut off the leaves. And it's this giant thing, and that's what they use. That's where they get pour out all the juices from. Now, to reiterate, mezcal can be made from any type of aguave. Most specifically, in the most popular one is called Espanin. That's the most popular version of agave that they use to make mezcal, but it can be made from any other variations just based on the person who's making its preference. There's about 11 regions in and around Mexico that makes mezcal, but the most popular region in Mexico is the region of Oaxaca, which is coined the birthplace of mezcal. And that's where the majority of the agave species of Espanin is where it's created at. And so that's where it usually comes from. But that's the whole difference. It doesn't have to be from that town. It can be from anywhere else. Unlike tequila, where tequila has to be the two major rules in tequila. It has to be from the town of Jalisco. But one of the towns, it has to be 5 regions. One of them has to be Jalisco. There's 4 other ones, and I'm not going to try to butcher it. And it has to be made with at least 51% blue agave nectar. And so that's a whole strict rule when it comes to tequila in itself. Mezcal does not follow that rule in its entirety, but it is a sole-based purpose of it, and it has its own thing. But like I said again, it can be made from any other region in the world. The process of making mezcal is almost as similar as making tequila, except for 1 or 2 things. They still have to crush it down and step on the juices. That process can be done either way based on traditional standards. It can be done with the donkey in the barrel, just walking in circles and crush it around. Or in some regions, all they do is hit it with a bat until it becomes mush. And then they keep it in a certain container, usually copper or clay, and soak it in with water and let it all absorb. Usually takes about 3 to 4 days for that to happen. This is the key difference here after that. So with tequila, tequila usually is distilled and processed 2 to 3 times, and that's it. Sometimes more, it just depends on the person who's making it. So usually 2 to 3 is more than good enough to distill tequila. Same with mezcal. But once you take it out, that's where the variation varies. Tequila usually goes to copper type bends, and that's where they age it and that's where they cook it. And with mezcal, the more traditional saying, they use clay pots. But here recently, the tradition has gone a little further away because clay pots yield very little spirits, and so they're trying to make a mass production of it. So they have finally switched over to the copper side of it. But there's still some locals, there's still some brand that still sticks with the clay pot process of that. And once again, with mezcal, it has the same thing, but the more preferred preference to drink mezcal is the El Joven, which is the clear version of it. That is the way you're supposed to drink it. I mean, that's pretty much it with the history on that. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. Like I said, but it does give a different taste. It tastes completely different from tequila. I do prefer it a lot, especially when you put it on ice. Now, what I have here is the ones that I own processed myself, or not processed, but I own myself. And I also got 2 ones that I've never tried before: the Reposado Mezcal and El Año Mezcal, which I bought today. And I also have two ones that I think you guys need to try out for yourself. First, my favorite mezcal is actually the one from Dos Hombres, which is created by Bryan Cranston and fucking Jesse from Breaking Bad. Aaron Paul. Sorry. So Aaron Paul, the 2 guys from Breaking Bad, they created this mezcal, and I'm telling you, it's one of the better tasting ones that I've had, and which really is the one that got me hooked on mezcal to begin with. It's extremely clean. The smell will take you off of it. It does smell like real burnt charcoal, but if you get past that, I mean, if you let it sit, the smell does go away. But it is just such a clean taste, especially when you put it over ice. Damn near, it's almost like drinking water. It's fucking amazing. It's one of my favorite. The price range on it is a little steep, but it pushes $70, but it's every worth the penny. If you're trying to be on a budget though, I think this one, Casa Volado, and this was at De Maña. So this is a Reposado. Okay, so this one's about roughly $30, and this is my Reposado version of it. It's actually pretty good. It's not as clean as this, but it does the job, and it's really, really swell. And like I said, it's a little bit cheaper. I've never really had it prior to this, so I always wanted to try something new. Now I do have an El Año one that I got today, which I've never tried. This El Año one's from Gallo Saltol. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but the same rules apply when it comes to tequila. This is usually about 0 to 3 months. This is about 3 to 2 years, 3 months to 2 years, and 3 years and above. So it's easy process, and this right here is something I want to try today. This is Casa Amigos Mezcal. So George Clooney made his own tequila, like everyone knows, but he also ventured into the Mezcal region. Now, I wouldn't want to get a bigger bottle, but you know, I'm broke. Yeah, it is what it is. Now, I've tried these two already, and I have my little sipper right here, but I've never tried the Lime, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that here for you guys. Oh wow, that was surprisingly really, really sweet. So once again, this one only cost me about 26 bucks, and this is supposed to be the more aged version of a Mezcal. And this from this town, this one doesn't even say what town. Ray Davis, I don't know who that is, but. And normally when you drink Mezcal, you're supposed to drink in a little cup like this. Actually, it's preferred in a clay pot. And so, I don't have none of that. I should, but I don't. But let's go ahead and give it a try. I mean, I do like this smell. The smell smells a lot like honey, almost though. It's very, very sweet. Man, like the guava really sticks out on that one. That one's a unique smell. Okay, that's really sweet. That's really, really fucking sweet. Shit. Almost has like a barley wine taste to it. The bite is there, but man, compared to this one's more of a bite. Ooh, but this one, man, this is really fucking good. Okay. Okay, I'm impressed. I gotta say I'm impressed. That's pretty good. That's every bang for his buck. So I gotta say that's pretty fucking good. Now I haven't never tried the George Clooney Mezcal yet, and I might as well try that now. Like I said, my favorite one is the Dos Hermanos. It's amazing, and for the same price, I think the George Clooney one was about roughly the same price, 68 bucks. So I want to go ahead and try that out, see how that works. I think fucking rubber cork. Alright, so let's see how this works out for me. Not too much. Okay. So yes, I understand that this is a small bottle. I don't need the judgment call. I don't need a judgment call. Now this is another Reposado Mezcal from Aluminar. To be honest with you guys, I forgot I had a Reposado Mezcal already. So I bought this thinking I needed to buy a bigger one, but I just wanted to try the Reposado one. But luckily for me, I saw this one and it's the same fucking thing. I forget sometimes what I own and what I don't own. I mean, it happens. But stop the stalling. Let's see what we got here. This has this little. The smell ain't as bad as Dos Hermanos. I gotta say, I gotta be honest about that. Let's see how everything else goes. Ooh, that one's smooth. That one's clean. That one's clean and smooth. Okay, man. Okay. That was the smokiness is not as harder as the Dos Hermanos. It doesn't have a bite. It's a lot smoother. It's extremely a lot smoother than Dos Hermanos when it comes to that aspect. It doesn't have a bite at the end. The reason why I like Dos Hermanos though is because it has the. I do enjoy the bite. I do enjoy the harshness of it, but it smooths itself out afterwards, so it doesn't linger. This one does actually. Once it goes down, it feels in the back of your tongue a little bit. So it's pretty much not an aspect of your preference choice. If you want to feel a little gravitas, a little more of a bold taste to it, be Dos Hermanos. Dos Hermanos, to me, in my opinion, would be the equivalent of drinking like a good aged Irish Scotch, which is more of a barrel burnt taste. Which, like I said, a lot of people do like. I like it. I don't like it too much in my Scotch, but as a Mezcal, it's actually not a bad taste. But if you want a more smoother, less complex taste, the Casamigos is a good route to go when you try Mezcal. And once again, this is right now my favorite at this point, because the Laños is El Gallo Satoro. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the fuck out of that name. But this is El Año Mezcal. Once again, it's over 3 years old, usually aged, really sweet, almost tastes like honey wine. It's extremely tasty. It's so smooth. All these are preferred to be drinking over ice. There are mixed drinks with Mezcal. Very far and few in between. It's very, very hard to hide. So not a lot of people really like messing with Mezcal. And once again, it's preferred to be drunk over ice. Given this is my first attempt of doing one of these little fun fact research on liquor and spirit and beer, I pretty much butchered the fuck out of it. But I'm trying my best here for being my first time. But hopefully this gets enough views and likes and enough attention for people to actually maybe try and look it up, and I'll do some more. If I do another one after this, it'll probably be the story of IPA. Kind of the history of beer itself is unique, it's interesting. And the fun fact, I don't know, because with Mezcal it's fun because there is another backstory history behind this. Like I said, mentioned earlier, there was a point in time in Mexico where it was forbidden to drink this. It was considered a traitorous crime because of what it meant. This was created by the Spaniards. This is not ours. You shouldn't be drinking this. It's the devil. There was battles and wars that fought over this stuff, which finally, eventually, over years, finally calmed down, and it was accepted more and more and more. And it became like a proud statement now that Mezcal is Mexican's birthright. It was created in Mexico. It not only made in Mexico, but it was created in Mexico. It is the birthplace of Mezcal. And so that's something they really hold their hat on. And they will fight to the death for that. They fought to the death to that. The only one though that has a real strict rules when it comes to liquor is tequila. Means it has to be at least 51% blue agave, and it has to be made from those 5 regions that I mentioned earlier. The most famous one being Jalisco. Other than that, Mezcal, like I said, is made in Russia, it's made in Iran, it's made in usually desert areas of the countries. I have no idea how they're made in Canada. Apparently they do. That's something I would have to look up. But from doing my little brief research, there is Mezcal in Canada. Don't know how that's possible. But there's always a fun fact on that aspect of you. With that being said, I really would like you guys to try this out. Try Mezcal out. It's very underrated liquor. It's a very underrated drink. Put it on ice, sip on it, enjoy it, enjoy your night with it. With that being said, my friends, till next time, drink safe, drink smart, drink responsibly, and I bid you farewell.